Alright, so this is English, the structure part, or specifically paper 2. So in this representation, I'm going to look at relytes involving what? Prefer to and rather than. Okay, so these relytes are highly examinable. Okay, they are what? Highly examinable. So it is high time we knew this. Okay, it is high time we knew this. Okay, so let me start with prefer. So prefer is always followed by the preposition to. So in your sentence, when writing using prefer, an examiner need to see to. Okay, in your sentence, when writing using prefer, an examiner is expecting you to write to. Or prefer is always followed by the preposition to. So apart from that one, we also have rather. So the word rather is always followed by the preposition than. So when you're writing a sentence using rather, you need to put what? Than. So now, before I go straight to the questions, let me try to explain a little bit on this part here. So now, I'm going to start with prefer. We know that prefer is always followed by the preposition, which is what? To. So, the rule here is like this. When you are having verbs or action words in the original sentence, and you have been told to rewrite a sentence using what? Prefer. What you need to know here is that the verbs, the verbs, you need to add what? ing. For example, in the original sentence, if they have given you eat, drink, stave, sweep, and so on, when rewriting using prefer, you need to add ing. For example, the example which came in 1994, paper 2, it was saying, I would rather eat oranges than drink mossy. So in this case here, we have two action words or two doing words or verbs. So we have eat and also what? Drink. So now remember, I was saying, when rewriting using prefer, every verb in the original sentence, you are supposed to add what? ing. So in this case here, where there is eat, I'm going to say eating. Then where there is what? Drink, I'm going to say drinking as a continuous tense. So when writing, it is saying begin, I prefer. So it is going to change to eating. I prefer eating oranges. And then where there is than, we are going to put what? To. Since prefer is always followed by the preposition, which is what? To. So I prefer eating oranges to drinking mossy. So now, let's move on to the next one, which is rather. So as for rather, you know that rather is always followed by the preposition, which is what? Than. So when rewriting using rather, an examiner need to see than in your sentence. Okay, so if you omit than, which means your sentence is going to be what? Wrong. So let's say, for example, if in the original sentence we are having verbs ending in ing, we are having what? Verbs ending in ing. When rewriting using rather, those verbs you need to omit. You need to omit ing. When I say omit, you need to remove ing. Okay, in simpler way, you can say that. So when writing using rather, you need to omit ing or remove ing. So let's say, for example, if I prefer eating oranges to drinking moss was the original sentence, then they say begin, I would rather. So which means where there is eating, you're going to remove what? ing. And where there is to, you're going to put what? Than. Since rather goes with what? Than. Then as for drinking, you're going to remove what? ing. Then it's going to become what? drink. So if we are to rewrite this one by saying I would rather, it is going to sound like this: I would rather eat oranges than drink mosi. Another example which came in 2009 paper 2, it was saying the guest of honor took. Now remember, took is a past tense, so you can't say tooking. Doesn't make sense. There is no such kind of English, so you need to change took to taking. Okay, so you can't say tooking, but you can say taking. Okay, so the guest of honor took vodka and not whiskey. So begin, the guest of honor preferred. So where there is took, you can't say tooking, but you can say taking as a present continuous tense. So the guest of honor preferred taking vodka to whiskey. Preferred taking what? Vodka to whiskey. Okay, as you can see here, they have omitted D and not whiskey. Okay, they have omitted what? And not. So in the place of and not, they have put what? To. So which means when you see and not, you are not supposed to include it in your sentence. Then as for the next one, is question 3, which came in 2002 paper 2. It was saying, I prefer going to the cinema to watching television. Okay, so in this case here, we are using prefer in the original sentence, which means I was saying, when using what? Rather, the doing word which are ending in ing, you are going to omit what? Ing. So in this case here, I prefer going. Going is going to be what? Go. Okay, going is going to be what? Go. Then where there is to, where there is what? To. Don't going to but like this one here, cinema to watching. Okay, so you can say where there is to, we are going to put what? Than. Then where there is watching, we are going to remove what? Ing. Then it is going to become what? Watch. So it is going to sound like this: I would rather go to the cinema than watch television. Okay, that's excellent. Then the next one is saying for the exercise, we have the question 1, which came in 2001 paper 2. It was saying, I would rather starve than eat worms. So I would rather starve than eat worms. So in this case here, in the original sentence, we are having what? 2 verbs or action words. So we have starve and eat. So now starve, it's more like you are staying without eating anything. That's what starve, or you are fasting. Okay, that's what is starve. So which means as for the word starve, it is going to be what? Starving. Since here we are writing using what? Prefer. So starve is going to be starving. Then as for eat, it is going to be what? Eating. Then as for eat, is going to be what? Eating. So I prefer starving. I prefer starving. And remember, prefer is always followed by the preposition to. So I prefer starving to eating worms. Okay, that is what? The correct one. So I prefer starving to eating worms. Then as for the next question, which came in 2003 paper 2, it was saying, the patient wanted to have milk and not porridge. So remember, and not, you need to exclude it. Remember on question 2 for the examples, it was saying the guest of honor took vodka and not whiskey. Then the original, and then the rewrite was saying the guest of honor preferred taking vodka to whiskey. Okay, so in this case here we are going to say, since we are using prefer or preferred, so I'm going to say the patient preferred. Now in the original sentence, which one here is the doing word? We are having what? The doing word is have. Okay, so the word have is going to change to having. So it is going to sound like this: the patient preferred having milk to porridge. So the patient preferred to having milk to porridge. So the patient preferred, let me say, the patient preferred having, not to. So the patient preferred having milk to porridge. Yeah, that's what the correct one. So the patient preferred having milk to porridge. Then as for the next one, which is question 3, which came in 2003 paper 2, it was saying, I would rather drink tea than eat rice. So in this original sentence, we have two verbs, which is drink and eat. So drink, since we are rewriting using prefer, so drink is going to change to drinking. Then as for eat, is going to change to what? Eating. So it is going to sound like this. I prefer drinking tea to eating rice. So I prefer drinking tea to, let me say, I prefer drinking tea to eating rice. That is what? The correct one. Then as for the last one, which came in 2012, paper 2, it was saying, I would rather drink water than beer. I would rather drink water than beer. So in this case here, in the original sentence, we are having one verb, which is what? Drink. So it is going to sound like this. Remember, we are rewriting using prefer, so which means drink is going to change to what? Drinking. So it is going to sound like this. I prefer drinking water to beer. I prefer drinking water to beer. So that was the last one. Thanks for watching.